Hello and welcome to my meditation. My name is Debra Baker and I'm so grateful that you have joined us for this little while. It's going to be a longer while today. I've been getting the message from my guides to have a deeper meditation about meeting your higher self. You ready? Let's get started. And if you don't have time to listen to the whole thing, pause it and come back later or whatever works for you, you know? So let's begin with 3 really nice deep breaths, each one getting a little deeper and the exhale getting a little slower. So breathe in to the front of your chest. Feel the front of your chest expand. Hold it for a moment. And then when you're ready, release it nice and slowly. And now breathe into the front and back of your chest. So imagine just filling your entire rib cage. Holding it for a moment. And then when you're ready, release it nice and slowly. And now take the deepest breath you've taken all day. Breathing into your rib cage all the way down into your belly. Hold it for a moment, as long as you like, and then release it really, really slowly. So we're going to do the tense and release method for relaxation so that we can relax our bodies fully. So before we get started, I encourage you to get into a really nice deep place. I mean, a really nice comfortable place. It could be deep if you're deep in a bed or a stack of pillows or something, but you want to get really, really comfortable. So make sure your head is supported, all of your limbs, make sure your hands and feet are in a comfortable position, that you're nice and warm. For some reason when I meditate, I feel like I need a blanket or something, because as I get into that state of meditation, my body sinks down and I think my body temperature gets a little lower, so I like a nice cozy blanket. But you know, everybody's different, so you do what works for you. And let's begin with our feet, ankles, lower legs, knees, and upper legs. So you want to either curl your toes forward or back, whichever muscles you want to tighten, and press your legs together, your ankles, your knees, your upper legs. Take a deep breath. And then tense all the muscles you can in your feet and legs. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And when you're ready, let go of your breath and your tensing muscles. And just notice for a moment how good it feels to have your muscles relaxing. And now let's do the pelvic floor, your tailbone, your glutes, your lower pelvis, everything in your pelvis and your hips. So pull up your tailbone, or pull up your pelvic floor, tighten your glutes, pull in your lower abdomen, take a breath, squeeze, 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 and then let it go. And now let's do the midsection. So just the midsection. So pull in your gut, your sides, your back. Just imagine you're just giving your midsection a little hug. So take a breath and squeeze it all together. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And when you're ready, let it all go. And now we do the chest and upper torso in 2 stages. So first, I invite you to make your fists, your hands into fists, and bring them up to your shoulders. Tuck your arms into your sides, and then pull your arms forward as though you're hugging the front of your body and expanding your back, so you can feel your shoulder blades kind of expand. Take a breath and squeeze, 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 squeeze. And when you're ready, let it go. And now go to the back. So keep your hands up to your shoulders. And so imagine squeezing your shoulder blades together and expanding your chest and your rib cage in the front. Take a deep breath and squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And let it go when you're ready. Okay, now let's tuck our chins. Bring your shoulders up to your ears. Take a breath And imagine just kind of squeezing your head with your shoulders and pulling all your muscles to your face. Take a breath. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And then let it go. All right, let's just sit for a moment or lie down for a moment. Whatever, let's rest for a moment. And allow our brains to shift to the brainwave of meditation. Yeah. You may notice your breathing slowing down just a little. You probably aren't aware that your heart rate is slowing down just a little, and your brain has already shifted to the brainwave of meditation. I believe it's called the theta wave. So just enjoy getting into that meditative state. So let me introduce this with a quick little story, which is about our higher selves. So I was talking to a class one time about how there's only been one person on the other side that I was unable to access initially. Eventually she did grant me access, but she had her reasons, and that's a whole nother story. But other than she, I've always been able to contact someone on the other side, even though, as somebody in the class suggested, certainly in the last 37 years since I've been doing this, someone has had to have come in for another lifetime. And yet, why am I able to access them from their past lives related to the people I'm, working for, my clients? And so I realized I didn't know the answer to that. So I paused and I asked my guides, how is that possible? And the answer was because there is a part of us that is always on the other side, that is always in the oneness, always one with God, the divinity, the one presence, the one power. There's always part of us that is there. We're connected by this invisible cord, so to say. And that part of us that's anchored at the end of that cord is one with all that is. And then also here on earth having a human experience. Our imaginations, our intuition, all of that comes from something bigger than ourselves. And that something bigger than ourselves, our infinite selves, our higher selves, is one with all that is in the oneness, is how I like to call it. So somebody said, oh, well then can you channel, my higher self? And I said, I would much rather teach you how to channel your own higher self, because I feel like that would be way more beneficial to all of us to be able to access our higher selves. Even though we consciously and unconsciously access them all the time and subconsciously, being able to very deliberately and consciously access our higher selves in this meditation will prove to be very powerful, and potentially even more powerful as you go through your life. And so I am going to use imagery, visualizations, because we are having a human experience, and that's how we experience the world, is through the 3D, the five senses, seeing, hearing, the rest. And so when we picture ourselves, and we just picture energy, it's too nebulous to really glom onto. So what we're going to do is just have a little visualization, a fun little visualization. So first of all, I invite you to picture a place in nature that you really like. I'm not even going to give you any prompts. Whatever comes to you, a place in nature that you really like. And in your imagination, touch on the five senses. You know, what does it feel like in this place? What does it smell like? What does it look like? What does it, sound like? And if there's something to eat or drink, what does it taste like? Just get the full experience of what it's like to be here. In this sacred place. And it can be a place you've been to before, or it can be a place you completely make up. I did this for myself a few weeks ago, and I was in the desert, and then the desert turned into a lush tropical forest. There probably isn't any place on earth where that happens, but it did in my imagination, and it worked. So you can make it however you want. And make sure that you feel safe there. Make sure you feel comfortable. And if you would like to have a spirit guide, guardian angel, or someone with you, or maybe just someone nearby, you're welcome to do that if that makes you feel more comfortable. And I suggest you say to them, stay right here. I'm going to go for a little walk. Stay right here and I'll call you if I need you. Which you won't, but it's nice to know there's somebody there. And now see a path open before you, however that may be. There's a path with an opening. And imagine you see this opening and you're, curious about it. You also notice that on the ground is what we like to call a grounding object. Something that you can hold on to. So it could be a crystal or a palm stone or a flower or, whatever works for you. And pick up the grounding object and just acknowledge it. Maybe put it in your pocket or just keep it in your hand. And let's think about your higher self. I invite you to think about your higher self. So maybe it looks like the very best version of your human self in this lifetime. Maybe it looks different. Whatever works for you. Let's take a moment to just get an image of what your higher self might look like. This is the part of you that is always one with all that is. It is your connection to God. It is your connection to universal life force, to the one presence, the one power. This is the part of you that is the most godlike part of you. This is a part of you that is most one in the oneness. It is a pure expression of the oneness. And so notice now that opening before you. And you notice now that your higher self is coming into that opening. So if it's a doorway or an archway or, a break in the trees or a cut in the rock, whatever, notice that it's open and your higher self is now before you. Just take a moment and take it in. And check in with yourself and see how you feel about that version of you, a very real version of you. How do you feel about that? Stay focused on it long enough until you feel it to be true, you feel it to be real in every fiber of your being. This is truly your higher self. Even if it feels like you're making it up, go with it. There's a couple of questions I invite you to consider. The first is, how much like your higher self is your current human self? How alike are you? As you look at your higher self, the second question, does this feel like a version of you in the future or a version of you right now? Notice the energy coming from your higher self to you, your human self. Can you tune into the unconditional love and acceptance? Can you allow yourself to feel pure love from your higher self? Your higher self is the divine expressing, being the bridge to you, but also the sense of empowerment that your human self is far, far greater than just your human self. So your higher self is kind of the personification of the greater you. the you that cannot be contained in a human body because it is so much bigger than that. The you that is infinite, the you that is pure love, that is the one presence and the one power expressing. Your higher self is usually a representation of what it looks like when you allow all of you into your human experience. Which I suspect very few people can do. For one thing, it's not usually done. And for another, it feels kind of daunting. Like, will I recognize myself if I show up in my fullness of being? Will my loved ones recognize me? I suggest that this is the very best version of you possible in this human experience. Can you sense that with this unconditional love and acceptance, there is no judgment, there are no regrets, no mistakes. This higher self of yours is telling you, you haven't had any missteps. Each step along the way has been valuable for one reason or another. You don't have to analyze it, you don't have to explain it or make it, right in your mind. Just know, absolutely every step up until this one, every breath you've taken, every beat of your heart has brought you to this moment where you are more ready and more willing and more able than ever before to express your infinite self here on earth. So I invite you, while you are looking at your infinite self, to see if there are any questions that you have and to ask them. And I'll be quiet for a moment so that you can have a little conversation with your higher self. Now I'm going to invite you to just try this idea on, see how it feels. What if that higher self before you is an energy field, is an energy? It is an energy. That's not the what if part. The what if part is, what if you merged that energy, that infinite self, that higher self, with your human self right now? Check in with yourself and see if you're ready. And it is 100% okay if you're not, or if you're almost ready, or you're kind of ready, or You are ready. Any of those options are all the right answer. So just become aware of where you are on that continuum. And in a similar sort of way that a young woman tries on a wedding gown before she's even met the one, but she just tries it on to see what it would feel like to be a bride, to wear a wedding dress. I invite you to try on your higher self. And I'm going to be quiet for a couple of minutes for you to have your experience. Just try it on. Imagine that infinite self just coming forward and blending with, completely melding, becoming one with your human self. I invite you to make some notes about this experience for yourself. What it felt like to have your infinite self in your energy field fully. What it felt like to know that you are one with all that is, and you are empowered. You have power, you have greatness inside of you, much more than you've ever imagined. I imagine that a part of you is almost, looking at your experience from a different perspective and saying to yourself, who are you? You're way bigger. You're so much more than I ever imagined that you are. Who are you? You are the one presence and the one power expressing here on earth as you. And so know that your higher self is always present with you, because when we leave the human realm behind, the human realm is defined by time and space, and the infinite realm, the oneness, is not defined by those things. So that is how your infinite self, your higher self, can be in the oneness and still be fully present in all of the many lifetimes that you have had and will have, in all sorts of places. They don't always have to be on earth. This is an infinite universe with infinite possibilities. And sometimes that idea scares me because I just can't imagine. All my little human brain can handle is this lifetime right now. And whatever my infinite self wants me to understand, and whatever brings me to a place where I can be more helpful to others, where I can be of maximum service to the one presence and to all of my fellow humans. And, the beings that are no longer human, the angels, the guardian angels, the spirit guides, all of them I consider myself in service to. And I know that you have your realm of, what your intentions are, what your priorities are, and I bless you in them. We're not all alike, thank goodness. We all have all sorts of ideas and viewpoints and human experiences. And I celebrate yours, and I ask you to celebrate mine. It's my intention for all of mine to be of service to others, to help you in whatever way that I can. And so notice now whether you have decided that you are going to stay, as one with your infinite self, your higher self, or whether you're going to say, okay, that was a great experience, we'll check in again later. Whatever way, or maybe I'm going to bring you with me now, but I reserve the right to, let it go. Because it's a lot to take in. It's a lot for our psyches to take in. It's a lot for our bodies to take in. It's a lot for our energy field to experience. It's a lot. You put yourself out there, and I congratulate you. So just observe your space. And so imagine now that you are in that space that you pictured. And you've decided that you're going to return from the meditation back to your daily life. Maybe you're getting ready to go to bed. Maybe you're getting ready to start your day or continue your day. Wherever you are in that process, look around one more time and bless that space as being the space where you had an amazing experience. And now imagine you are back in the place where you began this meditation. You're in your room, or maybe you're outside. I don't know. I didn't anchor that at the beginning. You still have your anchor, your grounding piece that you picked up during the meditation. You brought it home with you, and you still have it, and it's still helping you, and it will continue to help you. You are truly, truly blessed. So slowly bring yourself back to the present moment. I like to wiggle my toes and wiggle my fingers and kind of move my body gently. When you're in a deep state of meditation, you're in that brain wave, and to reorient and bring your brain back to the brain wave of awake sometimes takes a moment. So just do it and make it the last thing that you do is taking a deep breath and then opening your eyes. And take another deep breath. Sometimes when you've gone into a deep state of meditation, it takes a little while to reorient yourself. So I suggest you take a drink of water and just kind of stretch your body a little bit, make sure your consciousness is fully present in your body before you go operate machinery or something. So let me remind you that you are whole and perfect exactly as you are, in the one presence and the one power, moving in, through, and as me, honors and recognizes the one presence and the one power, moving in, through, and as you. Namaste. Thank you for sticking around to the end. Have a wonderful week.